Advanced Residential Applications and Case Studies. Chapter 8, Cost and Income Approaches. Page 32. Chapter 8, Ending Test. Retake. This quiz has a total of 14 questions. There will be one question per page. You must achieve 80% to pass this quiz. Start quiz. Number 1. What is defined as the cost to construct an exact duplicate or replica of the building being appraised using the exact same materials and design? A. Reproduction cost. B. Replacement cost. C. The cost approach. Or D. Quantity survey. It's either A or B. I know that right off the bat. I'm going to go reproduction cost. Number 2. A new home with 2,575 square feet sold for $632,000. Similar lots in the subject subdivision are selling for $180,000, and the site improvements are worth $12,000. What is the indicated cost per square foot of the dwelling? A. $245.44. B. $175.53. C. $170.87. Or D. $181. So we're going to get our calculator out. We enter in the price of the subject, $632,000. And then you're going to minus the lot, the similar lots, which was $180,000. That's going to equal the $452,000 estimated, or like depreciated cost of improvements, I believe is what it's called. And then you're going to minus the $12,000 of the site improvements. That equals $440,000. I believe that's the lump sum depreciation. And 440,000. Let me write that down real quick. $440,000, and then you're going to indicated cost per square foot of the dwelling. I think we just divide that by the square footage now. This one isn't like the one where you divide it by the cost, the estimated cost new. 2,575 square feet. $170.87. The answer is C. So the takeaway on that one is this one only has 3 phases, very similar to the other one that we were doing, except this one you don't divide it by the estimated cost new of the dwelling. This one, at that point, all you got to do is divide it by the square foot, which is going to give you your cost per square foot. Number 3. A new home is depreciating at an annual rate of 2%. How many years will it take before it loses 100% of its value? A, 80 years, B, 67 years, C, 25 years, D, 50 years. Okay, we did this one before and I learned the formula from it. The answer is D, 50 years. It's a very basic formula. You just take 100% and divide it by 2, which equals 50. Number 4, an appraiser is valuing an unusual style home that was built in 1928. The appraiser uses the Marshall & Swift Residential Cost Handbook to estimate the cost new. The cost figures in the handbook would be an indicator of A, breakdown cost, B, replacement cost, C, reproduction cost, or D, depreciated cost. This one's tricky because you're having to rebuild the house, I believe. I don't think it's depreciated cost, so I'm knocking D off. Breakdown cost. That was my original thought, was breakdown cost. But damn, I'm still thinking it's coming down to replacement versus reproduction. I'm going to go replacement cost. This one I'm not sure on. I think I got like a 1 out of 4. No, like a 1 out of 3 is what I'm thinking of making this one right. Number 5. A property sold for $725,000. The site was valued at $235,000, and the cost new of the improvements was $618,000. By market extraction, what is the percent of depreciation in the building? Okay, now this is the formula we thought we were doing earlier. So we got to get our calculator out. We're going to clear the last shit out of there. So we start with phase 1. And with phase 1, you got to enter in the price of the home, $725,000. Then you're going to minus the site value, which was $235,000. That equals $490,000. Now, I'm writing that down, 490. That was the estimated depreciated cost. And then you enter into phase 2 of the formula. Phase 2 of the formula, and the cost new of the improvements was $618,000. I believe you take, watch. You're going to clear that. Then you're going to enter in the cost new, estimated cost new of the dwelling, which is $618,000. Okay? And then you're going to minus that estimated depreciated value at the end of phase 1, which was $490,000. That equals $128,000 lump sum depreciation. Okay, now we're going to enter into phase 3. Phase 3, you going to take the $128,000 lump sum depreciation and you're going to divide it by the estimated cost new, $618,000. This is going to equal 0.20711974110003236. And if you look down here, your answer is D, because the final piece of the formula for this math is you move the decimal over 2 places to the right. That equals 20.7%. Number 6. An estimate of the cost to change is needed when an appraisal assignment includes all of the following items except A, functional utility problems, B, cost to convert to an alternative use, C, cost to update components to meet market expectations, or D, structural or foundation problems. I believe this is structural or foundational problems, because we did that one last time. Number 7. A 10-year-old home recently sold for $320,000. The site value is $110,000. The cost new of the home would be $250,000. What is the percentage depreciation indicated by this property? A, 16%, B, 12.5%, C, 22%, or D, 20%? I think this is that same formula we just did earlier. So let's start at the top. Clear your calculator and then enter in the price of the home, $320,000. Then you're going to minus the site value, which was $110,000. That equals your $210,000 estimated cost of depreciation. Then you're going to go into phase 2. Phase 2, you are going to clear your screen, your calculator, and you're going to enter in the cost, estimated cost new of the structure, of the subject, whatever, which is $250,000. Then you're going to minus the estimated depreciated cost that we came up with at the end of phase 1, which was $210,000. That equals $40,000 lump sum depreciation. And then you're going to go and proceed to phase 3. Phase 3, you take the $40,000 lump sum depreciation and you're going to divide it by the estimated cost new, which was $250,000. That equals 0.16. The final phase of the problem is you move it 2 places to the right, the decimal, and it's going to equal 16%. The answer is A. Number 8. When analyzing the cost of a new home built of standard materials with standard techniques and design, A, replacement cost is always lower than reproduction cost. B, replacement cost is always higher than reproduction cost. C, cost and value are always the same. Or D, replacement cost and reproduction cost may be the same. I'm going to go D. Sometimes they're the same thing, like the same number. Number 9. A new home sold for $500,000. By analyzing comparable sales, you estimate the land value to be $120,000. And the site improvements to be worth $30,000. The house contains 3,250 square feet of gross living area. What is the indicated cost per square foot of the dwelling? A, $107.69. B, $108.17. C, $110.34. Or D, $115.59. We're looking for the indicated cost per square foot. So I think what this is, it was like the one that was similar to what we just did, but it was like the first math question we had to do. So instead of the phase 3 and phase 4, we just go straight to dividing the square foot at the end to get us the cost per square foot. So let's redo that one. Start at the top, clear your calculator. Then you're going to enter in the price of the subject, which was $500,000. And then you're going to minus the estimated land value, which was $120,000. That equals $380,000 estimated depreciation. Something like that. Forgot the actual definition. Now we're going to proceed to phase 2 on this formula. And on phase 2 of the formula, you're also going to minus the site improvements, which was $30,000. Minus $30,000. That equals like the lump sum depreciation, but in this is like a different formula, but it's like almost the same thing. I don't know if it's called the lump sum depreciation like the other formula, but that's what we're coming up with. So now we're at $350,000, right? And all we got to do for phase 3 is just divide that number by your home's gross living area, which was 3,250 square feet. That equals $107.69. Your answer is A. So this is an easier formula than the other one because this one only has like 2.5 phases of math. Bam. Number 10. When appraising an owner-occupied single-family home, an appraiser is required under USPAP to develop A, the sales comparison approach, B, either the sales comparison approach or the cost approach, C, all 3 approaches to value, or D, whatever approaches are necessary. But this is required by USPAP. USPAP is crazy. Some of the requirements in there, from reading the book. So I'm going to go on a wild one and say whatever approaches are necessary. Number 11. A method of estimating land value applied by capitalizing ground rent at a market-derived rate is the definition of A, ground rent capitalization method, B, land residual method, C, extraction method, or D, subdivision development method. Right off the bat, I'm knocking out D because I don't even remember hearing about that. Method of estimating land value applied by capitalizing ground rent at a market-derived rate is the definition of. Shit. I'm not sure on this one. It's either A through C. I just studied land residual, and it's super similar, but I don't remember it saying that. So I'm going to go land residual method. Number 12. Which statement is true regarding the cost approach for residential mortgage lending appraisals? A. FHA requires the cost approach on all appraisals. B. FHA still requires the cost approach on homes that are less than 1 year old. C. Fannie Mae does not require the cost approach. Or D. Fannie Mae requires the cost approach if the home is less than 3 years old. I'm going C. Fannie Mae does not require the cost approach. Number 13. Which of the following methods of estimating site value uses land to value ratios based on improved sale comparables? A. Ground rent capitalization. B. Extraction. C. Allocation. Or D. Subdivision development. We just went over this one. It's not A and it's not D. It's between extraction and allocation. I'm going to go allocation. Uses following methods of estimating site value. Uses land to value ratios based on improved sales. I remember the improved sale part. I'm going allocation. I feel pretty good about that one. Number 14. Which of the following methods divides up and capitalizes the income between land and improvements? A. Ground rent capitalization. B. Land residual. C. Allocation. Or D. Subdivision development. Right off the bat, it's not A or D. It's between B and C. I'm going land residual. And I think the difference between those is allocation is something regarding improved sales of comparables. Assessment completed, finish. You passed, you got a 92.9%, good job. So remember, I'm not going to go over the math part so much, I'm just going to go over the terminology stuff, unless we missed it. Number 1, what is defined as the cost to construct an exact duplicate or replica of the building being appraised using the exact same materials and design. You said reproduction cost, and that was correct. Number 2 was the formula that only has 3 phases where you're trying to come up with the cost per square foot. And you said $170.87. That was correct. So that's the takeaway, is try to remember that formula. It's even easier. Number 3, a new home is depreciating at an annual rate of 2%. How many years will it take before it loses 100% of its value? You got this technique down. You got to do the 100% divided by the 2% equals 50 years. Number 4, an appraiser is valuing an unusual style home that was built in 1928. The appraiser uses the Marshall & Swift Residential Cost Handbook to estimate cost new. The cost figures in the handbook would be an indicator of, you said, replacement cost. And that was correct. So try to remember that. That's a good takeaway. Number 5, a property sold for $725,000. The site was valued at $235,000. The cost new of the improvements was $618,000. By market extraction, what is the percentage depreciation? So that is the one with the 4 phases. And that gets you at a rate, like a percentage or a rate at the end, where you got to move the decimal. You got that one right. Number 6, an estimate of the cost to change is needed when an appraisal assignment includes all of the following items except, you said, structural or foundational problems, and that is correct. Number 7, a 10-year-old home recently sold for $320,000. The site value is $110,000. The cost new of the home would be $250,000. What is the percentage depreciation by this property? I think this one was, what is the percentage? You said 16% and you got it right. So I believe site value, costs new, yeah, this is the 4-phase one and you got it right. Number 8, when analyzing the cost new of a home built of standard materials with standard techniques in design, you said replacement costs and reproduction costs may be the same. That's correct. Number 9, a new home sold for $500,000. By analyzing comparable sales, you estimate the land value to be $120,000 and the site improvements to be worth $30,000. The home contains 3,250 square feet of GLA. What is the indicated cost per square foot of the dwelling? You said $107.69. That was correct. So I believe this one was the 3-phase one. Kind of like it either leaves you a percentage or a cost per square foot. And you got it right. Number 10. When appraising an owner-occupied single-family home, an appraiser is required under USPAP to develop, you said, and you got this one right. Remember, it's crazy. Whatever approaches are necessary. And that was correct. So try to remember the takeaway is USPAP has crazy rules. Whatever approaches are necessary to get you the correct answer. Now, number 11, you got wrong. A method of estimating land value applied by capitalizing ground rent at a market-derived rate is the definition of. You said land residual method. That's incorrect. The correct answer was ground rent capitalization method. The ground rent capitalization method is defined as a method of estimating land value applied by capitalizing ground rent at a market-derived rate. This method is useful when comparable rents, rates, and factors can be developed from an analysis of sales of leased land or other market sources. Chapter 8, Income Approach. Number 12, which statement is true regarding the cost approach for residential mortgage lending appraisals? You said Fannie Mae does not require the cost approach. That was correct. Number 13, which of the following methods of estimating site value uses land to value ratios based on improved sale comparables? You said allocation, and that was correct. Lastly, number 14, which of the following methods divides up and capitalizes the income between land and improvements? You said land residual. That was correct.